Morning. Let's do a quick year-end review. It's the middle of January. Things that I wanted to get done this year that I partially accomplished. These beds, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dug out. I have 3 or 4 left, so it's pretty good. The paths, same thing. I got 6, 8, 10 done, 5 or 6 left. Pretty good. 5 or 6 left around beds that I haven't built out yet, so that's not bad. And most of them covered. Watering system, that's into all the beds I have in. Needs a little fiddling, but these ones always need fiddling, so that's not bad. Outside fencing is done, except for a gate. Inside fencing for the chicken coop is not done, 50% done probably, a bit more. I can't do more because there's a shortage of chain link fence in this country and I haven't been able to get more. But as soon as I can, I'll finish that. Chicken coop, I have some guys coming to stay soon who supposedly are pretty good at carpentry, so hopefully I can get that done when those guys are here. Growing things, it's not been successful. I've had the same problems as last summer, which is we are in a 2-year drought, supposedly is going to end in March, we'll see, and excessive heat for long periods of time. So it doesn't matter how much water I put in, when the temperature just keeps going over 40 for days on end. Some plants just aren't happy, most plants. I lost all of my squashes. They just can't take that heat no matter how much water I put in. A lot of the leafy greens, the lettuce and the chard and the rocket and the bok choy, things like that, the turnips that I was growing for the greens, it's too hot. These have done really well. This is the first time I've grown these. These are Armenian cucumbers. It's not really a cucumber, it's a squash or a gourd, but if you eat them when they're young like that, it's just like a cucumber. I had the first one the other day, just like a cucumber. But if you leave them, they get bigger and you eat them like a squash. So these are great. I'll grow these again, and they're supposed to be very, very productive as well. This whole row here was supposed to be tomatoes. As you can see, the germination, two things. The germination hasn't been great and they were getting burnt out. I think that my soil here isn't the most fertile soil. Beans, same thing. Haven't done well. And there I had some germination problems with a bunch of things, and here with chilies and peppers. Both these rows were planted in those and I got nothing. So I'm going to concentrate now on 2 things. One is getting this compost going in a much greater volume with much more input. So I'm gonna, once in a while I take some manure from where all the cows and horses are and I put it on the compost, but I'm gonna make a bigger effort to do that to a greater degree and see if we can get some good compost down on these beds for the autumn planting. So if the rains start in March and the temperature drops a bit, I should be able to get a good shoulder season in. We shall see. I have a pretty much unlimited supply of cow manure that goes on the compost, and the dog has birds to chase. Non-gardening news. This is the pool. It was built 35 or 40 years ago. I pump house there. The pump still works, seems to work, and the filter as well, like a sand filter, so that's good news. If you notice down there, I've chipped off tile. See this bathtub ring that goes around? Any water above that leaks. It doesn't fill above that level. There's a crack all along the tile there that I chipped the tile out so we could see what's underneath. And yeah, the crack, in one way it's good news, the crack just goes horizontally, it doesn't go vertically. If you look here, you see this is well shaped. The crack goes all along the top like this. This is called a bond beam break. When you construct a pole, my research has shown me, you need to separate the pole from the ground around it, because the ground around it, with the heat and the cold, will expand and shrink and put pressure on the wall, especially on this top part. When that happens, this top part moves and it cracks the tiles down below, cracks the wall, which is clearly what's happened here. If you look in here, well, all the rub was back in, but we dug this out, and there should be a separator here made of steel that goes all the way down and keeps the pressure from the ground off of here, with a gap in between the two. You can see how it's cracked all the way along. So the legitimate fix for that is to take all of this beam off, take up all of this deck, dig all the way down, put in the steel beams all the way around, redo this part with rebar. This is brick, so there's clearly no rebar put in there, and then fit it all back in again. I'm not going to do that. I might as well build a new pole, and I don't have the money for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chip off wherever there is a crack. Here, for example, that length along there I've already done, along this back wall. I'm going to fill it with a special sort of resinous epoxy that's made just for this kind of job, and then I'm going to paint over it. It's not going to be the prettiest thing ever, but hopefully it'll do the job. If I have to do that every couple of years, that's fine. That's better than basically building a new pool. I can't put in a new pool because the first one wasn't constructed correctly. It doesn't seem sensible to me for the time we have. The good thing is we know that the floor in the majority of the pool doesn't leak because of that bathtub ring, and because in the winter when it did rain, the water just sits in here. The only way it goes is by evaporation. This floor up on this level, not so sure about. Might have to patch this as well. That's not such a big deal as the side. And when I take these tiles off here, I should have an idea of what these pipes look like underneath as well. Hopefully they're plastic and not metal, but I'm not hopeful. So it's a horrible sweaty job, but someone's got to do it.